opposed to here?
Look, the point is that you think Potentia is just something that's useful to talk about, and you don't think it's actually exist. Is what I got.
What do you mean if it actually exists? Like if it actually exists, it wouldn't be potential; it would be actual.
Yeah. So like the difference between like Harry Potter existing versus like your car existing.
I don't have a car.
It's a hypothetical.
Yeah.
So if I had a car,
Yeah,
let's
something
say
like that.
your glasses, anything. I don't know, your shirt.
or it's like my potential car
Oh God.
that I can bring into that I can realize by something actual.
Oh. That's crazy.
I don't know. What are you guys talking about here?
We were just talking.
Really.
Yeah, we were just chatting. There was nothing really, no real subject. But I mean, we were talking about Dr. Dawkins for a little bit. They got his face revealed, but yeah. I mean, it's not clear why you would believe in like the potential actual distinction. Like, what do you take something to be? What do you mean by something being a potential?
Yeah, we already talked about like it's like a trivial thing. Like apparently, like the whole it's like So I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I take it that on his view, by Potentia, he just means like some type of like epistemic like some type of epistemic attitude towards how things could be before they actually occur. And then he says like once the thing actually occurred, then there is no more Potentia because it's just the way we perceive things could have gone or something like that. And then I was like, okay, well, it just seems like it's like a type of epistemic thing.
So it's like a
doxa. Very
doxa.
trivial.
It seems weird. So that's like a doxa about what can be ontologically instantiable.
Yeah, that's like pretty much it. Like unless you disagree with that characterization, but
The truth, right? Like the truth of Potentia is actuality.
What does that mean?
The truth of the potential is the actual.
you just mean the true way like things will go or something like that. Like, are you like a necessitarian or something? Or
Well, depends what we mean here. I think that it's necessary that something exists.
no? Like, do you believe that there's like one possible world?
I do think there's one world.
One possible world.
Oh, so you're
There's one world with different possibilities. You're asking.
You're a modal monist?
Do you think there's one possible world?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? I think there's one world with different possibilities.
Is that an answer to the question, or?
I don't know. Is it?
But an appropriate answer would be yes or no.
Well, I reject that.
Listen, do
you reject like bivalence in logic, or?
Like he can articulate it in the way that it makes it seem more like digestible. Like, do you think there's different possible state of affairs?
Why should I accept excluded middle?
No, I was asking. I was asking.
Why can't I just have an indefinite? I just want an indefinite. Just give me an indefinite. That's all.
He's not asking.
Are you like trolling right now, or?
We're not talking about if there's like some considerable reason to undertake the view. He's just asking, is it going to be the case that you commit to the LEM?
Well, I just want to know, like, what's your take on the LEM before I commit to it?
That's just not going to be preliminary, right? What he inquired was, is it the case you undertake the view that the LEM holds true?
Well, it's like I want to know what I'm accepting here. Like, it's like you're like, are you asking
what the LEM? You're asking what the LEM is? Is that the idea?
Yeah, because there's like different ways you can understand the LEM.
Yeah, I take the LEM
like
to be
Hegel kind of rejects the LEM, sort of like from right?
I mean,
it just posits that there's going to be two truth values.
I just take it to be P or not P, but
yeah, that the truth value is just going to be discerned by two value.
What's that even mean? What are you saying here?
It means that some proposition. I mean, you could define it. Sorry.
Well, I just wanted to say, like, it's just like, do you agree with P or not P?
P or not P of what?
So where P is oh my God, where
Listen,
P is.
Do you hold that it could be dichotomous, some proposition in truth value? That it can either be the case a proposition is true or false.
So you're asking, like, is it possible? So is it possible that a proposition can be true or false?
Well, we're not talking about some modal. Listen, it's just like, do you commit to the idea that there's only going to be solely two truth value, true or false?
Okay. I think I understand what you're trying to say here.
Yeah, it's a very.
So you're trying to say that everything is
We're
either
not.
true.
No,
or
we're
false.
inquiring what you undertake.
Yeah. I know. I'm trying to.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
trying to be a mirror.
epistemology.
Yeah,
Look,
don't just. This is all. I don't think he's going to answer this. Let me just go back to the.
Okay, I think everything, insofar as it has being, has truth. Okay.
That doesn't.
Okay,
How's that an
cool.
answer to the question? I'm not clear.
Well, you're asking if like things have truth, no? Like, yeah.
No, your answer.
God.
Your
Yeah,
answer as to whether or not you commit to the LEM was, I hold that things that are, what, like the status of being would hold true.
Yeah, like for everything that has being has truth.
No, listen, we're asking about your metaphysical parameter to epistemology. You would hold it that some proposition can either be true or false. Yes.
Okay. Yes. We'll go with yes here.
Okay.
I'm not understanding what my saying.
Let's go back to the earlier question. So you said, so asking if you were a necessitarian wasn't clear. Is the answer yes or no?
Well, I just want to be clear on like what you mean here, because I want to know what's the relevance.
Yeah, by necessitarian, I just mean someone who believes that there's only one possible world.
I think when you say there's only one possible world, when you say, what's your metaphysics of this world here?
I don't know. Like, I don't know exactly what you're asking there.
Dude, are you like not tracking?
Look, can you have a world with different possibilities, and is that distinct to different possible worlds?
No, listen. What you're asking is not.
If there are different ways things could have been, then yeah, there would be different possible worlds.
Okay, what do you mean by things could have been? Like, I think things, when we speak of like could have or could not have, I think that things were as they should have been.
I don't know what that means. Do you not like? Do you like not know?
Yeah, I'm answering.
No, I wasn't asking you to explain that. I don't think it's relevant. Do you know like?
Well, maybe it's relevant. Maybe it's relevant.
Do you find like modal facts? I mean, modal
maybe
statements
it's
to be
relevant.
incoherent, or
maybe it's relevant.
I'm not concerned about that.
Well, but then in what way dialectic? Because then you're just concerned with
listen.
like,
What he's? Are you like
the goal right
anti-realist about modality?
The goal right now is to try to figure out. I'm trying to figure out your view on something. I don't think that turns on whether or not you hold a given view.
Wait.
Like, do you find modal statements to be like unintelligible?
Why is Nylot sending messages in this text? He's not even in BC.
So just ignore him. It's whatever.
No. Yeah,
Well, do you?
Do I find what?
Like modal expressions, like X could have happened, X could not have happened, X is possible. Do you find those to be unintelligible, or?
I think some maybe, yeah.
Oh, like which one?
Like if I were to say like the world could have been different, or like this world could have been different. Like what's that even mean?
Oh, you find those. So if I say like the world could, you find that to be unintelligible. Asking if the world could have been different.
Well, it's like like what do you mean by that? I want to know. Like here's the thing. It's like I'm not necessarily committed to saying it's unintelligible.
Listen, you would take it that something, but you would still take it that something unintelligible is going to be like logically coherent, right? Like if I say an infinite regression, like there's going to be like an infinite past and we reach the present, that might not be intelligible, but you wouldn't say that's going to be like logically inconsistent, right?
Wait.
No,
like when we speak of intelligibles, right? I am thinking of that as being logically coherent.
Oh god. Oh gosh. Like, look, if you don't understand, if you don't understand the modal talk, I'm not sure what to do about that. But then,
what's like? Do you understand the modal? Like, how do you know you understand the modal talk? Like, what if it's all bullshit?
Are you asking like? You're asking me like, what if it's like? Are you asking me if it's logically possible that it's like whole bullshit? Or?
Like, I'm asking you, like, what grounds this way of speaking about?
I don't know. I don't really know what you're asking there, but it seems kind of irrelevant. Do you?
It's like, why are you taking this view? Why are you taking this view of metaphysics? Why are you like holding this position, this way of like engaging the world? Like,
I don't know if the position that I understand. Are you asking me why I hold the position that I understand like modal language?
Yeah, like possible worlds. Do you like accept like possible world modalities and all this shit? Like, why do you accept that? It's like why? Like
you ask like such vague and weird questions. I don't really know what you're like. Are you asking why I understand modal talk, or are you asking me like why I use modal talk, or?
It's like, why do you believe in it?
Believe in what?
He can be a
do anything to you anyways, Venus. But that's to the point.
I took it that
I don't want anyone to bully you or anything like that. I don't
know why people keep saying that as if I'm like some child. Like I don't care what other people say about me. I'm not concerned in any way. I don't I don't know why people keep getting the impression like I'm being bullied or something. Like,
Well, just
like please stop saying that.
it sounded like a bit of a dog pile. That's all. I mean, if you want me to,
I wasn't even listening to what was being said. I mean, I kind of vaguely heard Venus asking Nightclap. I mean, I muted Nightclap for a bit of it, but then because I was getting bored. But then I unmuted him, and he was talking about like the Troy or Danny or something. Like I don't know.
Okay. Well, as long as you're okay, I guess. Here.
Yeah, I mean, we could just go back to the topic. They just like interrupted for no reason. I don't understand what's Venus's problem with Mason. It just seems like every time now that like he either like acts as a question to instigate something, or just like starts instigating with other people already in VC to like attack Mason or something. Like,
cool. No way. Like I don't want to. Like I'm just trying to understand. I thought you said you take Potentia to be like what we kind of approximate to be a range of possibilities before an event occurs. I thought that's what you just take a Potentia to be.
It's like a possibility.
Yeah, but
you know, I think that Werner Heisenberg kind of said that the like the orbitals in an electron or atom or some shit like that. Like he kind of like equated that to the notion of potentia from Aristotle. So like how this kind of particle can be in all these places, right? But until an observation happens and like it collapses, right? Like all the others reduce into this one.
Yeah, but it sounds like. But if you don't understand modal talk, possibility is just like a modal expression, and I thought you were saying you find modal expressions to be like unintelligible.
Well, it's just that I just don't use some sort of like possible world semantic kind of thing.
Well, but you think saying x possibly was different, the world possibly was different. Seems like that's just kind of trivial to your account of potential. But like, so I think you don't want to say those terms are like. I mean, you seem to understand terms like possible or whatnot.
I can understand possible, yeah. It's just, but like when we talk about potential, right, and possible to do something so and so, right? Like it's possible to run, or possible to jump, or possible to whatever. Okay. Like, what's gonna like allow that possibility is some already actually existing state of affairs. So it's the case that if I don't have legs, it's impossible for me to jump, right? If I don't have whatever wings, I can't fly. I just don't have to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just that the possibility is going to be grounded in what's already actual.
Yeah, and so to be clear, like by potentia, all you mean is just like let's say like before some outcome occurs, like let's say like let's say like there's a ball dropping machine that sometimes it drops like blue, yellow, and red balls. Now prior to it drops another ball, we might think like, oh, it could drop like a ball that's like red, yellow, or blue, whatever. Like, and then once it drops, the blue ball or something, now all those potentials cease to exist. So it's basically just our attitudes about what is possible. Basically, that's what you're saying, right?
I don't know if it's like per se an attitude, but it's just that there are these set of outcomes that may occur, and those set of outcomes that may occur are grounded in facts that actually occur, and given some motion, right, we see that these other potentials are reduced, and then there's just the outcome. It's just what is actual.
Okay. So wait. So but.
Maybe I can like type it out. Maybe I can just like type it out.
Maybe if you want to, but I'm just like you're just saying that potentially just. How is that not what I said? How is that not just like the attitude of like what we take to be possible?
So we can look at this, right? Like, so, I'm typing it out. Just go to debate English, right? X and Y here, while in the proposition, right? While in the premise of either of a disjunctive here, that's going to stand in as potential, right? Now, like if A, then not Y. Okay, A. So, hold on. Okay. Like, this is kind of like the idea that
either X or Y. If A not Y, A not Y. Yeah, but
so like,
that's just like a valid inference. That's like an inference.
So the thing that's kind of like eliminating the not Y is the A, and the A is the thing that's actual there, right?
I already know, like, this is not the part I'm unclear on. I'm just trying to figure out, like, how your definition of potentia isn't just what I said, which is, like, people's attitudes about what is possible or not.
Well, it's like if you look at the syllogism, is that just like an attitude or like what?
Like either X or Y. Like
Is that an
I'm saying,
attitude?
like are you like I don't know what you're talking. Like are you cashing out X and Y as some type of I thought you said like because I thought you were telling because even like if we're interpreting this with like possible world semantics or something, like even if you conclude with X, it's still true that either X or Y. That like it's not like X or Y becomes like false or something after that. But I thought on your view, you were saying like the potential disappear or like there's the potential cease to exist once something becomes actual. So that's not really going to capture what you're saying.
So like what's happening? Yeah. So I guess what's happening here is that by the end of like the syllogism, right? It's like therefore X is what is actual.
Yeah, but you said that the potential ceased to exist after the event occurs. That's what you said. So
Yeah,
that can't be captured by the syllogism.
Y is not an option anymore. That's the point. Y is not an option anymore.
No,
It's nothing.
I don't know what you mean by an option anymore. Either X or Y is just like a true statement, and then even if you conclude if X or Y is still true, because in order to have a sound argument, the premises have to be true. It's not like really doing anything at all. But you were saying that after the event occurs, the potential just don't exist anymore. And then you also said that potential are just things that we need to. They're just a consequence of our ways about talking about things.
Yeah, I guess like we can look at it. It's like, look, I have like you have the like I'll use me. I have the potential to remain a virgin, right? Let's just say I have sex. Well, like I still have the potential to remain a virgin, like, or what happens?
I don't know what you're asking.
I don't have the potential.
You're just appealing to your note. Like you're asking me what you mean by potential. Like how am I even supposed to answer that? Like I don't even know. I don't know what you mean by potential. I thought I did. Now I'm clear what you mean.
Yeah, it's just that in that example I provided, that I do not have the possibility of being a virgin. That like ceases. Like it's impossible. It becomes impossible, right?
By potential, do you just mean possibility?
In a way, you can look at it like that. Yeah, I mean, in a way, you can just look at it like just one world with different possibilities, and all the possibilities.
I don't know what you're
being kind of like you ever look at like one of those like.
Look, I take it that potential like first there's issues relating to like whether or not. I mean, look, I'm not entirely concerned whether you're using the terms as commonly used. I'm not really concerned about that. But do you think like potential is like an object? Like, do you think like no, I think you already answered no to this, but I guess I'll have to ask again. You don't do you think potential? You don't think potential is a stage in which things like exist or not, or do you?
Well, yeah, like to affirm. Okay, so like when I take existence, like existence or being, right? I'll use being. Being is like the least you have to affirm of anything, lest it be nothing, right?
Oh God.
So it's like I can't speak of something if it's not something. Then what makes it something is that it's not nothing. So something is not nothing by virtue of this.
Is there like a formal like do you have a definition of potential?
I could probably go to I think Ed Fraser has a decent kind of like analysis of it. But in short, it's kind of how I was going about it, right? It's like
I just think you're saying
it has an analogous being. It's analogous. It's being that has being as analogy, right?
I just think you keep saying different things, and now I'm not really clear on what you're saying anymore. So like if there's like a I don't know, like maybe like you can if there's some definition that you have. I take it that it seems like you're saying something different now than you were in the last conversation.
Sorry, did I miss anything? I was like away for a bit.
Anything like not really now.
Yeah, this kid in chat is just like such like a waste of time.
Oh, is he still trolling?
It's not that he's trolling. He's just actually that retarded. He's like doing this thing where I asked him like, "What do you think an argument is?" And I defined an argument for him several times in VC. And he's like, "No, what do you think an argument is?" Because he said he believes he achieved the deployment of an argument for his position, and it's just not the case. He established any argument. Like he just gave like a run-on sentence that's like not even grammatically like, but whatever. Like he doesn't actually give like. Shit. Yeah, like I could pin you to what he said an argument is, or like what his argument is, and it's just like not an argument. And I asked him, "Do you know what an argument is in formal logic?" And he said, "Yeah, that's what that is." And it's just like, and then I mean, I don't know if you heard it. I think I just told you it that he just like says nonsense. Like I asked him, "What do you think a modal scope is?" And then he said like a perpetuous syllogismic conjunction, and it's just like, what the hell is this kid even like waffling. He's just like obfuscates, says like words to sound like eloquent or smart or some crap, and it's just like he's a retard. I mean, he's like 15 years old and he only debates anime, but he was like talking shit, and he said like he knows more than me, which he evidently doesn't know anything philosophy. But no, yeah, I'm not. I mean, to take over. You guys can continue your conversation.
I was just trying to read.
I mean, I can ping you if you want to where he said he gave an argument, or what his argument was.
Oh yeah, sure.
If I can find it. Oh, here. All right. Keep clicking this other dude named question mark.
It's like okay, so what is it? So real potencies, which are a ball's potential for melting at a certain temperature, is grounded in the nature of the rubber out of which it's made. Okay, well, whatever. That's fine. I don't really. I'm trying to figure out like what you mean by potency, not like what it's grounded in. It doesn't really help much. I'm just not quite sure what. I don't think this really gives, and this just tells you like what like potencies are grounded. Then it gives like an example of a ball's potential for melting.
Okay, so, like what would help you kind of?
It's like I just want a definition of the word potency. Like I don't like that's what I was asking for.
I mean, but I'm not sure what exactly is so confusing here.
Like
so,
I guess you understand that this like
we could
this
say
uses
like
the term as if like people already know what the term means.
Sure, like I guess the most all-encompassing way of saying it is contingent being contingent.
Well, now, okay, well, I mean that's like another different thing you said, but like if so by potency you just mean like something being contingent.
Like something has being contingent, yeah. Like it's being as it is, it stands in contingency.
I don't. Oh God. Wait. Maybe you're saying potency is being as it stands in contingency. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure.
And what does contingency mean there?
Like something has being, but may as well not have being.
And by being, do you just mean like existing or
like being?
I don't like by. Do you just mean existing by being?
I mean, you can kind of think of it as like a sort of existence, yeah.
A sort. So this is like. So now you're saying so it seems like before when I asked you like last time, like you were saying like potency is like an epistemic thing, and now it seems like you're saying it's like a type of existence.
Yeah, potency is like a type of being, and it has like a type of being. Has a sort of being to it.
Do you still take it that potency? Do you still take it that potency cease to exist when an event occurs?
So like something that doesn't have the potency to be X, Y, and Z anymore. Well, it just ceases, right? It's just a ceasing. So yeah, I guess it's like being, right? Because it's like being that may be as well as not be, and so it's not, right? It could not be.
Okay. So now you said that like if there's an object that has like two potencies,
yeah,
X and Y. You said when an event occurs, but what you said was that one of the potencies ceases to exist and the other becomes actuality. That's what you said, and I'm saying now if that's true, then you need to kind of elucidate how it needs to be elucidated in my opinion at least how.
Okay,
so something goes from potency to actuality. And then when I was asking you that last time, I think you gave some type of epistemic story that I wasn't.
So, like, what I would say is that we need something actual. If it's not that, well, this is the only option. So it's this.
No, wait, but then that's kind of offering something like where. That's kind of like, but then again, that's just gonna lead you to the same thing I was talking about earlier, where you just kind of take potency to be like I don't know, like you. It seems like you'd have to use some type of like possible world analysis because if you believe that like if you conjoined like a view where there's one possible world, and you said like potencies are attitudes about like what could happen, or that can do a cash out in possible world semantics or something.
Yeah, we're just attributing contingent being. Yeah.
But then like I thought that's what you said. You're not trying to do. You're not trying to use like possible world semantics.
Well, okay. What would be like a possible world semantics here? Because like I just think there's really only one world. We're just talking about these of things in the world.
Do you think potency is just like a way of talking about something?
It's a way of talking about something. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just trying to like see if I can follow you. So what do you think it means for a potency to cease to exist? Do you think it means like it's some object that pops out of existence or something?
It was illusory being.
What do you mean it was illusory?
What?
Like, what do you mean? What I mean?
Like, are you saying? So you're saying if you're saying
like,
it's illusory, that just means you're saying like somebody had like a false perception or something, or?
No, it's just that something else was actual.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So you just think potency are just like attitudes about what could be actual.
No,
and
it's
once
not.
you figure out what is actual,
But,
then
wait, we already got him to concede earlier. It's going to be a doxa, right? Of like you took it to be an ontological doxa.
Yeah, potency. Yeah, like okay. So like,
Why you just rejected that's going to be a doxastic attitude right now?
right, like the potencies are real.
Yeah, you're just like flipping and flopping. Okay, I'm just going to let Mason engage with it.
Yeah, I mean, he does seem to keep saying different things. I mean,
It's like you just change your answer every time.
Okay, right. What have a change? Like I'm
well,
just...
it seems like what he said. Like it seems like we take it that you keep saying that like potencies are like an epistemic thing. Then you say that they're like an ontological thing, or at least it seems like that's what you're saying. And it seems like you keep going back and forth, and it's unclear what you really. I mean, that's what it seems like from our view. Maybe that's not true. Maybe you.
What makes it seem that way? Like maybe I can.
Yeah, so it seems like you're saying earlier, I take it that you're saying like potencies they're these things that exist, and then when the event actually occurs, they kind of cease to exist. Okay, but now you're saying, like when I asked you, well, explain how they cease to exist, but then you're like, well, because the potency is like illusory. Okay, wait, if it's illusory, it just seems like you're saying it's like a mistaken attitude about something. And then you said, and the reason you said it's illusory is because you said there's only one actuality, which now it seems like you're saying that like potencies are just like people's like estimations or attitudes about what is actual.
Wait.
And once they figure out what is actual, they obviously don't hold those beliefs anymore because they now know what's actual.
Mason, hold on. I want to get clear. So Mason, I wasn't fully attentive to what he was saying. If you can remind me, did he say like he's like a monist on like modality? Like he doesn't believe there's like counterfactuals that like he's not a realist about counterfactuals or something like that.
I think he's like a type of monist or something like that, or actualist or whatever.
Like listen,
that's what you mean.
It's fine if you like use modality, like you're a fictionalist about these modal entities, like and you just say like this possible state of affairs that which cat could have like it doesn't make sense to like because you said it was logically incoherent when you said it was like unintelligible earlier because you said what it means to say something is unintelligible is just that it's going to be tantamount to the fact that it's logically like incoherent, which is to say like it's going to be like inconsistent with the background of axioms of logic, which doesn't I don't see how it's just like nothing you're saying. It's just like everything you're saying is like gibberish.
Okay. So like maybe this will.
Wait. So do you take it to be? I just want to like maybe this would be like a good intuition poem, or like a analogy or illustration or something to better communicate. So if I said, let's say I failed the test, and I said if I had studied, I would have passed the test. Would you say that's logically incoherent?
In a way, I'm just. It depends on like how do you mean that?
What's going to be? I don't understand.
Well, wait, you could say it, right? It depends on like how we're really meaning these things.
What are you talking about? Listen.
If it's like you're saying that like at one moment you had, right?
It's just that
like if that proposition like just means, at one moment in time you had the potency, right, to study, but you failed at doing so. So that's why, your failure is actual.
Well, listen, I'm not going to entertain that language of potency and like actuality because that's like not what we're convinced of. But listen.
Well, I just don't want to get off track of it. I just want to see if I can follow. So like you.
Yeah.
So you were saying something like there's one actual world. So on your view, there's like one actual world. And you think potencies are like the other potencies are illusory. When you say they're illusory, what do you mean other than they're things that seem to be true that turn out to be like mistaken.
So like I would say okay, let's look at it this way, right? So like we use potencies to account for change insofar as change has a principle from which and a principle to which. Okay, we're on board with that, right?
Okay. I don't know how to answer my question, but
sure, yeah. Okay, so like, you know, the potency stands as the principle from which, right? And the actual stands as the principle to which in that relation.
How does any of this answer the question?
Well, I think it does.
It's just
The
like
question was, what
clarifying
do you
question.
mean?
It sounds like he's asking you a question back, like for clarity. I'm not clear.
Yeah, the question was, what do you mean by illusory, other than like some I don't know, some mistaken belief or a mistaken appearance or whatnot? Because I take it that's what like an illusion is supposed to be. And you said potency are illusions.
It's you know, yeah. So it's like it's a failure. It's a failure of sort, right?
So you think a potentia is a failure to realize what was actual? That's all you think a potentia is?
No.
No, it's not what you just said it is?
No, that's not what I just said it is.
Did you say yes or no? I can't hear. Did you say yes or no? It is.
I said yes to the no. What I mean by that.
Oh, okay. No. So I thought you. Okay. So then I thought you then when you said it's a failure of some sort. It's a failure to do what? Recognize what was actual, or
It's a failure to be actual, right? It's like, you know, it seems like that's how it's working, right?
what else could be? I thought you said that potential. Wait, I thought. Okay, I need to follow this. So you said they're illusory. So you said they're illusions, and I take illusion to be a type of like it's like a mental thing with like it's like a false appearance or false belief or what or
you
whatever.
could be like a complete idealist about this, right? Like you don't even have to.
But that's fine. I don't. I'm saying like, is all you take a potentia to be like a false belief about what is actual or not?
So like it depends on the potency. So we have like active potency, but then we have like the passive potency, right?
I don't know how what do you take the distinction to be?
So like like someone can have, you know, the potency to beget, right? Like beget a son, right? At any point in time they're alive, right? They'll have that potency, right?
Yeah.
So that would be like the active potency.
You're just saying like You're just saying a potency somebody always has versus like fine. That doesn't turn on anything. So I'm trying to figure out by potency. Like do you just mean do you think so? You think some potencies are just false beliefs or?
Well, look, like maybe we can just go to being, right? So being. Okay, so being.
Was that like was it
no,
like yes?
Like
yes
so.
Or...
Now I know. Okay, this might make it easier. Okay, so like when we look at being, right? For anything to not be nothing, it has to be something. So it needs being, right? But we're not going to have a strictly univocal, like monist kind of attribution of being. So we're going to have analogous usages of being, right?
This is like going a bit off track.
No, we're not.
No, do you think some potencies are false beliefs?
Are like the ways we can divide being, right?
Do you know what the question was?
Yeah. So for anything, it's going to be...
What was the answer to the question?
Like composed of being as it is in potency or as it is in act.
Do you remember the question I asked?
So that's kind of like the answer to your question.
What question were you answering?
Your question.
What was the question?
The one you asked.
What was it?
The one you asked.
Yeah, tell me what it was.
Okay, I think you asked me like what is potency or like what's act or something.
Okay, so you weren't look, see, when you like go on like that, you don't listen to the question, and I kind of try to stop you because you're not so you didn't know. So the question was, do you take it that some potentia, or at least some of them, are just false beliefs about what is actual?
So like, what does that mean? Like, can we be thinking of something when we're thinking of nothing? Is that what you're?
No, for example, a false belief about what could be like, I believe X will occur when Y will occur, and Y is what you're taking to be actual. Do you believe some potentia are just like false beliefs about what will occur?
I think maybe
Okay,
like
maybe.
we were dividing kind of like some things. Like I think we can be in error about like what things have some potencies, right? Like so if I say you have the potential to XYZ and it's like, oh, you actually don't have that, right? So I guess we could be in error about that.
It just sounds like you're saying like do you think that there's okay, but so like do you think there's any like do you think that there's any potential that isn't just a false belief about something?
Yeah. I'd
Like
say
what?
like certainty. It would be like pure active potency, right?
Like what's an example of that?
So that well, like here's the thing: like pure active potency would just be kind of like indistinguishable from actuality. So like
So pure
that would be
pure active potency, you just mean actuality?
so that would be like the prime analogous, right?
I don't. Is there any other like? Do you have like a more concrete example? Something I'll be familiar with?
Like of like something that has real potential.
No, like what's an example of an active potency?
Okay, so like water has the active potency to boil at 100 degrees Celsius and like standard atmospheric pressure.
Oh yeah, it just seems like you're saying that if water is under those conditions, then it will boil or something. Like sure. And then you're saying like a passive potency would be something where it's still uncertain whether or not like if someone was under like for example if somebody was presented with like a choice between two things, what they would you might say that's like an active potency or whatever.
Okay, so like a passive potency is actually like it's more like what has the capacity to be affected.
Like what's an example of a passive one?
So like rubber's capacity to be melted, right? That's a passive potency.
Wait, if like what do you mean like melted if it were like under fire or just melted in general without not specifying those conditions?
Yeah, so like it has these passive potencies to be melted in like some conditions, right? We can kind of be more.
Yeah, that's not different from like if that's not different from the water thing. If water is under those conditions, it will boil, and the same way if rubber is under certain conditions, it will melt. It's not really different. I would understand what you mean if by passive you just mean the general.
The water example was a bad example. Maybe
Okay.
I guess like you can look at it in terms of like passion versus cause, like a cause versus a passion.
The what? I mean,
Yeah, like
I don't really know what.
Right.
I don't really know. Like the example of passive and active potencies you gave are just the same. I don't know what the distinction you're saying is.
So like an active potency is like a power, like something has like a power, like an ability, like an ability to cause.
And what's a passive one?
It's to be affected.
Like what? What's an example
So,
of?
like look at like when a knife cuts butter, that's one event, but the event is composed of two things here, two things we can think of, right? The knife acting as the cause of the butter being cut, right? So the knife has this active, potency that's exercising, right? It has this power that it's exercising on the butter. It has this passive potency, right, to be cut.
Okay.
Like the knife is acting as the cause and virtue of what constitutes it, right? The butter.
You're just saying the active is like the
this range
potency
of,
to.
right?
Okay, you're saying active is just the potency to do something. The passive is the potency to like receive an effect or something.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Okay.
That's a good way.
Okay, that's fine. That doesn't really like okay. That's kind of all irrelevant. I'm just trying to figure out.
So yeah, like this is the thing, right? So like the reason why we have this distinction is because what movement consists of is something moving and something being moved.
Okay, but you said like I'm trying to still understand. You said by potency.
Yeah.
You said okay, so you said there's one actual world. And so there's one actual world, and so certain potencies will be illusions. And when you said they're illusions, like do you just mean like so if I think that the chair has the potency to like fall down in the next 5 minutes, you think that's just you're saying that's an illusion insofar as that it's false that the chair will fall down in the next 5 minutes. Is that all you mean?
Yeah, I guess like if it's not true, if it's not true that the chair can fall, then it doesn't have that potency.
Okay, so then it seems like all you're saying is that
like that thought was not of that event, right? It was like a false.
Yeah.
False.
So you think all potencies are thoughts? That's all you mean? That's like they're just thoughts on your view.
So Well, like it depends, because like if you're an idealist, then everything's gonna be a thought, right?
That's fine, but like you can take that view. I'm just saying, like in the sense that I think about that. Like you're just saying, like a potency is just a thought about what will or what could happen or to certain things, and I could have false thoughts or I can have true thoughts, and you think like once the true thoughts will just be actual, so they'll just be like the act. So it seems like you're just saying that the difference between potency and act is like whether or not somebody's belief about what will occur is false versus true. Like, is that like I don't see how you're saying anything different from that.
Well, like I guess like when you say it's just like a belief, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would hold that I don't think we can actually like make this complete separation of like the mind and the world. Like I don't think that kind of reality obtains. I don't think that's the right way to conceive it.
Yeah, that's fine, but yeah, sure, but you do think, but to be clear, we do agree now that on your view they're just beliefs. To be
look at this, like yeah, like the actual is so the actual like actuality, right, is the true, right? That's like the true. Like what we can think of is what is most actual, right? That is what is most.
But are we agreeing that so we do agree that potentia on your view is just a type of belief? Like we agree with that now.
Passive, as far as it's like a passive potency that we're misattributing, yeah, that would be right. But like insofar as it's an active potency, then that would be real. So like the powers are real. Like things actually have the powers.
I thought you just said active potency is like I thought you said. I don't see how that wouldn't be a belief. It seems I thought you said active potency is just like the potency for something to receive an effect. So, for example, like the potency for me to be stabbed to death, like I'm receiving the effect there.
That's
yeah.
passive.
So that's passive.
Yeah, that would be like a passive potency. So for you affected. So like when we think of like change and like event, cause and effect, the passive is the effect, and the cause is the active. The active thing, because the active is
the cause is the act. Like so, you're saying like
it's
so
like
the active one would be the potency for me to bleed after being stabbed.
Is that an act or is that like
I'm asking if that's an active or passive potency.
So if for you to bleed after you are stabbed, if that's an active or a passive potency? Well, it's really going to be if that's a cause or an effect.
Well, it's an effect. Like something caused me to bleed, right? It's an
effect. That would be like a passive potency. There's the passive potency to bleed.
Okay, yeah, you're just saying So I don't know how that will change, like though, because look, somebody could hold a belief that an effect will occur, and they could also be wrong about what the effect is too. So, like, how would that not just fuck?
Yeah, that like sure, we can say that, right?
Okay. So you believe all potencies. So to be clear now, potentias are just beliefs about what will happen or what could occur. That's all you think they are.
Potencies are they're possibilities.
Okay. They're beliefs about what could occur, what is the case, or whatever. They're just beliefs.
Not mere beliefs. So they are possibilities.
They're beliefs about what is possible. I mean.
Well, they are possibilities. So
yeah, but all when you say they're possible, you just mean that they're beliefs about what?
No, they're possibles. They're like actual possibles.
I thought you were just saying that they're just beliefs earlier.
No. Wait, so
oh my god. Now you're just like you just done the thing where you
So when you say like it's an existent possible, you're just saying like it's a thing that can be instantiable that is not yet instantiated, right?
So like as a cause or as a power, that would be active potency.
So is that a no that I misdescribed the idea of a possibility? You take a possibility to not mean that it's just something.
The possibility generally, we can divide that as active versus passive, right? So just remove the word possibility and just say potential, right? And just say that potential comes in either active potency or passive potency. And what that means is that one stands as the cause of one stands as the cause and the other as an effect of one event.
So all you mean by potential and actual is like a causal relation?
It is it's in a sense like this has this kind of causal nature to it.
So it has a causal nature, but it's not going to be identical to a cause, right?
It's going to be identical to a cause. So like when it's exercising its powers, right, then it's acting as the cause. So something can have the power to exercise, and that would be it functioning as a cause.
I don't understand. So when I say like something could potentially happen, like that doesn't mean it's a cause for something.
Well, when you just say like something, you're basically just saying something could happen, right? So when you say something could happen, something has the potential to occur.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get clarity on. What do you mean by potential?
Well, like insofar as we've just stated, like right here, that just means it's possible, right?
I don't. So it's wait. So you're saying it's just going to be something that's possible?
Yes, but the possibility, like what grounds the possibility, is the actual. So that's the distinction I'm trying to.
So,
so
the potential is just
why
like
this
possible,
is possible, right?
Yeah, so it's just like going to be like some possible state of affairs that is not yet instantiated, but it's instantiable, right?
That's a potency. Yeah, that would be like a potency.
So if it's just not yet instantiated in reality, that's just going to mean it doesn't hold any ontological nature.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if what it means to say something is potential is that it's going to be some possible thing to be instantiated in reality, then if it's only in potential, it's in a state that's not instantiated in reality, which is just to say it's not real yet.
Well, it's not actual, but that doesn't mean it has no being. So that's the distinction we want to make here.
What do you mean it's actual
like
but doesn't have being? What do you?
Yeah, so like the possible and the actual, they're not nothing. Like there's a difference between something being possible and it not existing.
I don't understand. So what's the distinction between existence, like some object or entity being ontic from it being actual? What's the discrepancy in the terms?
So what I'm trying to make the distinction between is possibility, actuality, and nothingness. So possibility and actuality are not nothingness.
No, but I'm saying my question was how does something being ontic differ from it being actual?
Because it can be ontic insofar as it is possible. Like the possible has being. It has this analogous being.
So you're just saying they're analogous? I'm not.
Being, yeah, so like being is used analogously here because we can't diversify being.
So what are you saying? They're tantamount? They're just like an equivalent? Like something, an entity being ontic, or like a state of affairs being ontic from a state of affairs being actual? They just like convey the exact same content?
Well, like I'm taking ontic to just mean like has being, like is not nothing.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm asking like how does, so you take it that something being ontic from something being actual are going to be like two different things, yes?
So I guess insofar as like actuality is like being as it is I'm trying to like find the right words here. So like, okay, so we have nothing and we can't have nothing. We have being, right? We can say things are possible. And to say things are possible, that means that they're also not nothing. So being, right, is ascribed to possible. But what is only possible but not actual also has a difference of a sort. But they both have being. So we're trying to distinguish what makes the difference between possibility and actuality. Is that what you're asking?
So see, you're like doing this thing again that you did with Mason, where like you like give an answer to something I'm not asking.
Well, like, are you asking what makes possibility different from actuality?
No, I'm asking what makes an entity or state of affairs being ontic different from it being actual.
Okay, and what do you mean by ontic here?
That it has an ontological status, that it exists.
Okay. And you're asking, okay, so like, what makes something merely have being and also can have like actuality, right?
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Well, okay, are you asking like what makes the difference between merely having being and being actual?
Yeah, like what? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I'm using being analogously here.
So you're saying like, so yeah, I mean, what would make something, what makes the term use different? Something being actual like, from it holding being.
Well, you can't find something that falls outside of being. So that's why you have to use being. Well, because like if you want to find the difference between something being and something actual, if I give you something that distinguishes them, that something will have being itself because it's not nothing. So I can't give you something that is outside of being.
So do you take it that like something potential exists in something other than like one's mere conception or like imagination?
Yeah, it has being in an analogous sense. So that's why we're like diversifying being, right?
So
analogous. not like
In what sense
not
does
u-
like a potential thing exist? Like in another plane of reality or something? Like
no, like we're using the word being. We're describing it analogously. It's like what the being of the actual has, right? What the being that the actual has is analogous to the being that the potential has. So it's using it according to like a proportion, like analogously, because we can't diversify being except by analogy, because to diversify you need to find something outside of that genus, right? But outside of being, if it's univocal, is nothing. So that's why you can't actually use being purely univocal. So that's why we think of this in analogy. So the being that actuality has is proportional, right? It's analogous to the being that the possible has. But that doesn't mean that what is possible, right? What is merely possible is identical to what is merely actual.
so so you're saying like there's going to be like qualitative or quantitative degrees of like being?
I don't know if I would affirm that yet. Like, here's the thing. So like the doctrine of analogy,
It just seems to equivocate then, if not the case that you're just talking about
it's not equivocating either. That's the thing. So it's not univocal, but it's not just sheer equivocation. It's not like there's absolutely no relation or relevance. There's something analogous to it. There's something like in between that we're trying to like grasp at. So it's not purely univocal.
I don't know. It just seems like your view is just like confused. I don't know.
Well, no, like it's like I'm going to ask you, right?
Well, listen, I'm going to go. Maybe we can continue the conversation tomorrow. I'll be free tomorrow. If I'm even interested. I don't know. It just seems like your view is just gibberish, to be honest.
Well, if you want, like, you can just look into like the analogy of being, why we can't use strictly univocal predication of being.
Well, maybe we can talk like tomorrow, like I said.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave. Mason, hold on. Let me see if Ableto's still in BC, because we can join him for a bit.
Yeah. Well, I got a game to catch today.
Wait, is Albedo still in